If you're in the classroom, you don't have to use the online thing anymore. You can just look at it now. Yeah, so look at our template and trying to complete this as much as possible. Later, I will show how actually you can run this in the online compiler. All right, so I think, yeah, based off what my explanation just provided, you should able to figure out this part because I've been quite clear, right? Like, what's the first statement here? Move to the next argument. RAG what? RAG. Anyone have any clue? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll see.
Also, when it shows an error if I use ARGVI, it shows I is not defined.
Did I give you that? Yeah, because yeah, when where do you see this? Oh, that's in my template.
Yeah, it's
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Might be. Yeah.
I open.
Okay. Yeah. You might have to change that as well. Yeah. All right. So here are some example answer. So use regv++ to move to the next argument. Using this bracket version of it to move to the next character, right? And switch here is to use one of the character you are pointing at to as your determine what the operator is. Okay. Yeah. So this function. Yeah. Let's see if we can run it. So in the command line, so in the online compiler, so how you can do it? Because if you run it now, it will not do anything. It's a little bit lagging. Just give it a second. All right. So yeah, if you're putting into online compiler and you run it, it will not work because there's no argument inside. Well, it's not completed as well, but I just want to show you how to put argument here. So put your argument over in this small window on the bottom. All right. So let's say you want to add 1, 2, and a plus. All right. You just type it over there. That would be your command line argument. Yeah. By the way, yeah, this command is not complete, so I cannot run it. But I just want to show you this here. All right. So yeah, if you're going to test any function that will take command line argument, you have to enter here. Skip the first argument, which is the command itself. Start from the second one. And if you're going to enter some special character, such as the multiplying sign, all right, you have to wrap it with the single quote so it knows it's a character, right? Like this, or if it's something like this. All right, if it's a smaller or bigger sign as well, you have to wrap it. Otherwise, you will have problem. All right. I'm trying to update my slide to include those brackets, but not all of them. So if I missed anything, you should add that yourself. All right. Okay. Yeah, we explained the push and pop before, and this code didn't have it, so I cannot run directly. And there's some little issue with the template I give you, so I have to change one of the I index to the pointer version, and then it should be working. Okay, so move on. So we definitely want to have a lot of flexibility by using the pointer. The one flexibility we mentioned is now we have created our function, and we can have it accept different argument to change the behavior of the function, right? Now we could also use the pointer to pointing at a specific function inside your program. Okay, that gives us way more freedom. So let's take a look at the one example of sorting. Let's say we take a bunch of input string and we want to sort them. Assuming those strings are all numbers, all right? So, however, if we're going to sort a bunch of numbers, actually that happens in Windows as well. Let's say you have a bunch of file. The first file is called 2.txt, let's say, okay? Second file is called 11.txt, all right? Third one, for example, is 22.txt. So when you sort it, you want to have the smallest number first, right? 2 and 11 and 22. But actually, if you do that, you will see that the 11 will be the first because it starts with 1. All right, so that means when computer sorting it, it is not reading by its value, rather it's comparing by its character, right? So it's look at the first character, oh, you're 1 and you're earlier than the 2, that's why you put in the first, okay? So that tells you there are 2 ways to sort things. One is we sort it by the value, which is what we want. The other way is we sort it by the character, by comparing the character, all right? So those are the 2 ways we're talking about here. Numerical way or this character way, all right? So we want to add additional argument /n to trigger this number-based sorting. So I can sort the file by the value of these things. Now let's break down this sorting function into actually just 2 steps. One is this comparison. The next is exchange, right? So you have a bunch of string inputs, and then you compare them. And if needed, you change their position, right? That's essentially what this sorting function. Well, then you have the sorting argument, depends on whatever way you want to sort them, but that's later. But the most important function affecting this behavior is the comparison function, right? If the comparison function only compare at the character level, it will do one thing, or if it will compare by the numerical value, it will do the other way. So we will essentially need 2 different comparison functions in our case. Depends on what's the argument we're sending, it will pass on different comparison function, right? And the remaining of the function should still stay the same. So let's look at this main function just to understand how it works. So first of all, it defines a bunch of things. For example, we have a pointer array, right, which is to store all the input lines. Also, we have a number to track how many lines we get. So those are typical. Then we define 2 types of comparison function. One is string compare, the other is number compare. Then we have swap function. Then we have additional variable just to flag the user argument, right? If we receive the /n, this will be flagged as 1. Otherwise, it will be flagged as 0. Note here that the most of those things you're very familiar with, initialize those variables. But note here, we also initialize functions now, right? This is a function we usually not used to do that before. Right now we're initializing them. So essentially, we're assigning their address, okay, in our memory. So later on, we can find them to use them. So this is the second part in our main function. It starts with verifying our flag, right? If we receive this new flag, and we will, if we receive this argument /n, we will flag our numeric number to 1. Otherwise, we'll keep it as 0. And then we will use this flag to determine either we will call the numerical comparison or string comparison, right? So this is typical. We are using this flag to record the user argument. Then we will base off this flag to do something differently based off this the user's intention. But the important part here is instead of we're sending a variable into a function, this is a sort function. Instead of we only sending a variable to this sort function, we are also sending a function into a function. All right, so again, this is something new. So we either send this number compare function or we send this string compare function, right? Again, we define them here, declare them here with brackets, so program knows they are functions. And then now we're sending them into another function. Okay. After we sort it, then we just print them out. Okay, so that's the main logic of your command line. Now let's look at this sort function itself, right? Remember, the sort function will actually take two functions, right? Two argument is variable, two argument is function, right? One is comparison function, the other is exchange function. So pay attention here how you declare, right, a function inside another function. So this is how we do it. We use the value, right, of this. This is actually a pointer, right? Pointer pointing at your function. So we're getting the function itself. So we use this star key to get the function itself. And when we're going to call this function, this is the expression you should use. So we'll compare two value, right? So we'll compare two value in our two line of things, and we'll compare them. If there one is smaller than another, we will exchange them, right? We will replace their position. But this is how you pass argument into a function which is provided by a pointer, right? So you use the bracket. Inside bracket has start, then has this comparison, and then you use another pair of bracket to feed another additional argument to your function. Okay, I would say the only big difference is here, right? This bracket with your star and the function name. Okay, yeah. So similarly, you will do this thing here. Okay. So note here, this compare function is not defined, right? Like you can actually use any way to compare, either numerical or string or whatever others you like. The only difference is what is the pointer you have sending, which function you pointed to. All right. Next, let's look at this numerical comparison function. Okay, this one is actually quite straightforward. Essentially, what I do is it will convert your input stream into a floating number, a floating point. Right? So don't worry about this function itself. You just know of if you input a string of 123.4, it will convert to 123.4, right? And it will give you that double value as output. And then you compare the value. That's it. Otherwise, if it's a string compare, you just compare the character level things. That we have did before. Okay. So yeah, this is how essentially it works for calling a function. Okay. Next one is the swap function. This one, again, very similar to the one before we used, except we change it to a pointer version of it. Right? So we have two pointer instead of two array, and we're passing the value inside this this array, and then exchange them. So here we're exchanging their pointer only. All right, we're not changing their changing the value inside this pointer. Okay, so let's do another practice. This one, what we do is we want to reverse the sorting function we just looked at. Okay, so we by accepting additional flag as R. Okay, yeah, you could use your knowledge on creating an additional sorting function, because this way we sort differently. Or you can just manipulate how we handle this flag internally, so we can still use the same comparison function, but just to swipe them in the opposite way. Okay, so you can make your choice how to do that. In my template, I use the second way, which is like we didn't actually create another sorting function. Instead, you just swipe the arguments which will pass to this existing sorting function. Okay. Anyway, so please go ahead to update this sorting function by accepting a new flag, right? With this /r flag, you could have an internal flag called reversed, right? If it's reversed equals to 1, you do something. Otherwise, you do other things, right? Yeah, essentially, you sort it numerically in a different way. Yeah, so this is a sort function I show here, which I want you to, again, just swipe the position in the input. And then you also need to update the main function to accept this /r argument. Yeah, and then you pass this flag into this sort function to trigger that. I have a template file in this.